Hi, Phil here. You're about to listen to a replay of a popular episode. If you've listened to all the episodes of this podcast, don't worry because replays are not common. However, revisiting episodes is not a bad thing. I think this is because of two reasons. First, we are forgetful beings. Too many times I've encountered a situation in which I've already learned a new way only to find myself reacting in an old way. And secondly, we are constantly evolving and growing beings. This is a very beautiful thing and is embraced well when we encounter familiar things with new eyes. To learn more about this podcast, visit thestoryshop.tv/podcast, join the mailing list there, and if you'd like, click the donation button and help keep this thing rolling. Feel free to reach out to me as well at phil@thestoryshop.tv. I love your emails. Thanks and enjoy. Hey gals and guys, it's your host Phil Larson, and this is your motivational high five on trust. Let's do this. Welcome to my bite-sized podcast, 5 minutes a day to live a better and more motivational life. Check out thestoryshop.tv/podcast. Let's go. Have you ever said this? Have you ever said, I don't know if I'll be able to trust anyone again? I have. The trouble is with that, we don't give trust what it deserves. Trust deserves to be not so fleeting as that. Trust, real trust, when built up over time, is more stable than that. And we can be destroyed by something someone says, even over a text on our phone, and we let trust fall much like a Jenga tower. You know that game Jenga where it's just a skinny tower of blocks and you just take one block away, and eventually, and after not very many, they all crash to the ground. The definition of trust is a firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. And a firm belief in reliability, if something is reliable, you only know it's reliable because you've tested it and you've gone through things together. And in this sense, trust, and to build trust, is a more stable manner. Being wise in what you share and when you share it gradually with the same person over time adds a lower center of gravity. Not like Jenga. Trust is something that has a base, that has a foundation. Brené Brown shares this great story with her daughter on her Facebook page in a video. And she talks about an instance where her daughter comes home from school and says, "Mom, I don't think I can trust anyone again," and explains an incident where trust was betrayed by her fellow students and friends, which caused a lot of commotion in the class. One of the teacher's practices that this teacher did in order to maintain some control in the classroom was to have a jar of marbles. And as the kids were working together and as they had this teamwork building momentum, whenever that would happen, she would add marbles to this jar. And the jar would fill up, and then if the class started to kind of turn on itself and lose a little bit of control, then the teacher would kind of give a warning that I might take some marbles away, and then eventually grab some marbles. Once the jar filled up to the top, then the teacher would throw some sort of party or incentive for the kids to get to the top. And whatever was happening with Brené's daughter caused marbles to be taken away. And this daughter was so embarrassed and said, I could never trust anyone again. And Brené explained, trust is like that marble jar. As you build relationship and as you confide in those that you love and that you're close with, you're filling up their marble jar. And as you do that, then your relationship becomes more steady. And if anything is violated, then maybe some marbles get taken away. But I think there's truth in, as it's that gradual building up, it's also kind of that gradual taking down. And sure, we may do things in people's life where they grab handfuls of marbles and they take them out, and we're wrong in doing that. But trust shouldn't be this fragile thing. If you have history with a person, I mean, the jar can get toppled over and some can spill out, and you can feel like maybe you're starting from the very bottom of the jar. But be careful to not let your jar shatter. And that trust cannot be built again, because that becomes less about them breaking or losing trust with you. That becomes more about you being unforgiving. If you lose trust in someone, remind yourself of all the history that they took and the time that they put in your life to build up that trust. And unfortunately, some of those marbles that you thought were trustworthy were actually lies. And unfortunately, maybe your marble jar was built on a faux foundation of fake marbles. And so, yeah, maybe it is ground zero. And if you're in an abusive relationship, then maybe a jar needs to be shattered and you do need to get out. Or if they're willing to work on it, get some help and get some counseling. Counseling sometimes is so great because what it does is allows your jar to maybe be built out of some healthier, stronger, reliable material, so that when you do begin to allow others into your life again, and then that trust comes into attack, you have a stronger jar that can withstand the hits. And here we are at the end of our show. And will you now or at some point today look at the reflection of yourself and tell yourself some positive words? The latest research in neurochemistry tells us that we have the ability to rewire our brain by telling us positive stories and things about ourselves. After a while, we start believing it. And when we start believing it, these things become reality. If you want that in your life, if you want good things for your life, if you've dreamed a future that you get excited about, let's take the first step and start telling ourselves some positive things. And today's positive self-talk saying is this: I can trust others again because I too want to be trusted. In a way, offering trust in a world of complete uncertainty is a little bit like the golden rule, in that we can do unto others as we want those to do unto us. If you want to be trusted, be gracious with your trust and extend it to others. There will be some bumps along the way, but when reliable trust is built, it is so worth the investment. True, authentic relationship is always worth the effort. And you can do it. It starts with you.